The rise of artificial intelligence, from intriguing possibility to practical real-world solution. On this issue of Inside AB, we're looking at how this new technology is already becoming part of our everyday lives in the UAE. And which industries, in fact, are most set to benefit. My name is Shayan Shakeel. I'm here to discuss this with Eddie Taylor. You're watching Inside AB. So Eddie, this week you've been meeting a lot of people who are involved with bringing AI into our daily lives. What can you tell us about the conversations you've been having?
Well, the first person I met was a very interesting guy called Vinod Vasudevan, and he's CEO of a company called Flytext, and they've developed a software called Neon DX, and this is basically a really powerful customer service sort of data analytics tool.
Right.
And it uses artificial intelligence to analyze all of this data, and they work with big telecom companies like Vodafone in India and MTN in South Africa. And this is basically sits in between the customer data and the customer service teams and uses artificial intelligence to process all the data. So when you ring up or when you go on the website, all of the information about you and your past behavior is processed and analyzed, and they use AI to then serve up a whole range of offers that they think that you might want to take up. So they're using it to kind of upsell, cross-sell, or simply just retain you as a customer. So this is kind of the predictive way that AI works, and that's a really, really interesting manifestation of it.
Yeah, but you're really just talking about chatbots, aren't you?
Well, I wouldn't say that, no. I mean, I think chatbots, which is certainly a certain part of AI that certain people are using, like Aramex, for instance, they've developed their own chatbot that is driven by AI, and apparently 30% of all chatbots that we see on our websites and things like that are actually robots. There's no one at the other end of them.
That's not comforting.
No, but I think what Neon DX is doing, how it's using artificial intelligence, is basically using programmatic devices to sift through all of the data that they're getting from 250 million customers in the case of the certain telecom companies, and is using it to process the information and predict future behavior on the basis of that. So when you call into the company, it can basically say, okay, Shayan, you've done X, Y, Z. I think you might do A, B, C in the future. And here are some offers that I can put towards you in order to keep your custom or to upsell you more things from our company. So that's how AI is different from simply just kind of a programmatic predictive model. Like, you know, you see on a website, if you've bought something off, say, souk.com, the next time you go to Facebook, you're presented with all of those ads. That's not artificial intelligence. That's purely programmatic.
Right, like dynamic pricing and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is something that's a lot more predictive, it's a lot more intelligent, and it's predicting your future behavior based on past behavior.
Right. So now that's really nice, interesting back-end software sort of solutions, high-end enterprise solutions. Is there anything we can actually see, though? Can we see AI around us?
Well, the idea that the best technology is always invisible technology, and I think that the AI to a large extent is kind of invisible. And I think there's two examples where it's being used today that we might not even know about it in the UAE. One of those is the lovely topic of parking. So when you park your car in a bay and you've put your money in, basically the RTA are now using artificial intelligence on sensors on top of cars to drive around the city and work out whether someone's paid their parking, which bays are empty, which ones are full, when that slot was filled, are you up to date on your parking fine, and if not, boom, the text message goes out to say, right, you've overstayed.
Right, so if you get a ticket...
There's no arguing. You can't put your case and blame human error and say, oh, I was just rushing out, can you let me off this one? If you've overstayed, boom, you get pinged. Another one is insurance, actually, which is a really interesting use of artificial intelligence. There's a company called iInsured, and they've developed an app. And this is based on machine learning, a software that's been over a year in development.
Right.
And what that's doing is it's basically, again, using the predictive element. It monitors your driving habits and then can package up an insurance product based on how it thinks you're going to drive over the next year. And you have to maintain those driving standards in order for you to qualify for your discounted insurance rate. So that's a really interesting way that AI is being used. And again, we won't see it and we won't feel it, but we'll get the end results of it.
That's really interesting, that insurance thing you told me about. Maybe a solution for today, tomorrow. But still not very revolutionary. Is there anything like space age, like Star Trek?
Yeah, I think probably the nearest example of something that's kind of fast forwarding into kind of a great new future is the Dubai Health Authority. Now, that we can't claim that this is being deployed yet, but we certainly have already seen sort of demo models of it, and we've seen it kind of rolled out in kind of test phase. And at Innovation Week earlier this year, they actually rolled out a health robot.
Right.
So basically what that means is, you know, the whole cumbersome process when it comes to visa and residences where you have to go to the medical centre and you have to get basic things checked.
Right.
These robots now will look at you, your iris scan and your fingerprint scan. It will identify that it's you. It will then be able to run some very basic diagnostic tests on you. It will be able to then get those tests and that data and then feed that back into a system, and then you will get your residency or your visa processed without ever having to meet a doctor or a medical professional. I would say that's probably the closest thing that we've got to kind of genuinely blue sky thinking.
Right. Well, as long as it doesn't take our blood tests, that's all right. Speaking of which, Eddie, this is a big market to get right, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is. There was one study by PwC that says that artificial intelligence solutions will increase the UAE's GDP by as much as $90 billion by the year 2030. So those gains are absolutely stratospheric if they get it right. And that's all to do with, you know, making things and processes smarter, making them more efficient, removing sort of cumbersome process-driven human tasks and replacing with much more efficient, much smarter machines that can do data analysis or data processing in literally a split second over hundreds of thousands and even millions of data points. And the UAE knows this, by the way. I mean, the UAE is one of the countries in the world that's really at the forefront of this. I mean, last year they appointed, for the first time in the world anyway, has done this, a minister of AI.
Right.
You know, Omar bin Sultan Al Olama is just a 28-year-old guy, and he's like at the forefront of this, and he's got the job now of driving through all these AI solutions to achieve these goals.
Right. Very young, very forward thinking. So the future is on its way.
Well, yeah, the future's here. It's already with us, and as we've already seen, it might be sort of slightly low level, like a chatbot or a piece of software that we don't see that's helping drive customer service. But it's here. It's with us. This isn't any more kind of the future coming. The future is right with us now.
Right. Excellent. Thank you very much, Eddie, for being so optimistic about the future. You've been watching Inside AB. Remember to subscribe and comment below, and tune in tomorrow for the next edition of this series. Thank you for watching.